All right, moving on. Now we're ready to start running ads. We have content ready, we have it set up, we have it ready to be launched. So now we need to start running ads. So I'm gonna go a little bit over how to set up your campaign on Meta. So that is advertising towards Facebook and Instagram. But at the same time, you can advertise on Google, you can advertise on TikTok, and Snapchat and Pinterest and whatever you want to do. But now in this module, we're gonna just go quickly over Meta. All right, so just want to say that a lot of people ask me, what should I spend? Is it expensive to run Facebook ads? Is it, how much do I need to test and all these things, right? So you don't have to spend as much as you think, but at the same time you have to test with speed. So within our team and our agency called Sumandit, we always try and test with speed. So I always go by the rule of, when you start running ads, you need to double your average order value within the 3-4 days. Within the first 3-4 days, okay? So if you sell a product for 500 kroner or 500 kroner or $50, you need to spend $100 in 3-4 days. All right, so you can do the math on that, how much your daily spend should be on that, but always try to double your average order value in 3-4 days. All right, so the reason why that is, you can spend very little and get the same amount of results in 3-4 weeks, but we would much rather test in 3-4 days with speed to see if it works straight off or not. And a lot of agencies say, yeah, you need to give it 2-3-4 weeks, let it test, let Meta find their algorithm, find their audience. But if you test with speed, this doesn't really matter. It's like a fluke, it's like a hidden secret in the ad space, that you have to wait 2-3-4 weeks before it finally starts to work, which is not the case. Okay? You need to expect fast results, and if it's not good results from the get-go, we need to optimize. I'm going to talk about that in the next module as well. So campaign setup. How do you set up a campaign? So if it is a brand new ad account, I would much rather go completely broad, because you can't target customers who already have seen your brand because you don't have any customers, right? But if you're advertising for a brand that has a lot of customers in the past, that's when you can start doing retargeting ads. So you run ads to people who went to add to cart or went to checkout to your webpage, for example. Or you can even run ads to people who has bought before, so you can try and make them buy again, right? If you sell a product where it needs to be bought more times, when, let's say you, again, I always use this example for women, skincare products, right? When you use up your skincare product, when you use up your serum, for example, you need more. You need to get a refill. So you can always advertise towards those people to make them buy again. Okay, so detailed steps for creating a broad campaign. What we do, we run something that's called an Advantage Plus campaign, which is so important to run. It's absolutely the best campaign to run in Meta nowadays, and you should absolutely do it straight from the get-go. So what we usually do is we create 4 or 5 different types of ad sets within our broad campaign, where we go completely broad. So if you sell to, for example, women in Sweden, you just want to target women in Sweden and all ages. That's what you want to do. And sometimes, a lot of times it works as well just to go completely broad, not even target anything, just go Sweden. That's it. Complete broad works a lot of times. So the key is often in the content, okay? That's where it usually works. But then again, we're going to talk a little bit about also, like, if you have an e-commerce brand, you're already doing 10 million a year or 20 million a year, you need to have some different type of strategy, because then it's more about having a clear strategy on how to get new customers versus how to retain the customers that you already have and make them come back. So then you need to advertise a little bit in a specific way, which I do believe is all in the attribution settings. That, for example, for a brand that is doing 10 million a year, you don't want to spend your ads towards people who are going to buy either way, right? So you need to be a little bit more strategic in your ad sets and in your advertising. But this is more for people that is just starting to run ads and just want to get their first sale and stuff, all right? So you want to be creating 4 or 5 ad sets, each dedicated to a specific product. So what we talked about 4 or 5 winning products, right? So you want to create a specific ad set for that specific product. So create 4 or 5 different ad sets, complete broad, everything is broad, and you want to have 4 or 5 creatives in each of those ad sets, right? So you want to have 4 or 5 videos or 4 or 5 different pictures within these ad sets. What happens now is that the importance here of diversity in these ad sets is so important for you to actually go and test, because now you can test out different types of creatives and different types of videos and different types of UGC ads, which we see is working the best. Now you're having around 20 to 25 videos you can test against each other. So now the chances of failing and not succeeding is way smaller, because you're testing more things at the same time, and you're kind of letting Facebook and Meta and the algorithms do its own job, and you're just focused on having the right copywriting, having the right scripts, like what we talked about with the influencers, the UGC content. And you test different types of ads against each other, and you're going to find winning ads that is going to go very profitable and get you a really good return on your advertising budget, right? So ad spend strategy, like I was talking about, run this for 3-4 days, double the average order value in 3-4 days. You're going to be good. You're going to find out what is working and what is not working. All right. Just want to go through a little bit of basic stuff as well. Just you need, is really important that you have your pixel set up, the pixel configuration set up, so you can track where the purchases are going through. Because if you don't have the pixel set up, if you don't have tracking software set up, you don't know where your purchases are going, and then you're kind of running ads, and then you're basically blind, we would say. So if you don't have the tracking software correctly, and you get, let's say, 5 to 10 different purchases into your store, you don't know where they come from. So now it's going to be a little bit more difficult to track exactly where the purchases are going. So make sure you have that correctly, and that you test your conversion API on your events manager and so on. All right. So, and also what we do and what we try to test a lot of with brands that just started running e-commerce brands is, what I recommend for new ad accounts actually is that when you first start to run your own ads for the first time, usually go for add to cart optimization. So you run ads to get people to press add to cart, because it's a brand new ad account. So usually it's just about getting people to add to cart. And when you got over 40 add to carts in a week, you can transition that campaign into a specific you can change it to a purchase campaigns, because now Facebook has the data and information, so now it's easier to get purchases. So that's what we do. And like I was talking about, it's all about optimizing for speed. All right. So if you optimize for speed, you can find out and get results really quickly, instead of waiting 3, 4, 5 weeks to see if it's working. All right. So test with speed and find out what's working as fast as possible. So this is kind of like the ad strategy, I would say, for brands that are kind of new. Focus on the content. The content is the most important here. And for brands that are doing 10 million already and wants to go into 100 million a year, now it's more about building an infrastructure within your e-commerce brand that we're going to talk about in the last module. So look out for that, because now it's about having a clear strategy that you advertise. I just want to say that it's really what can happen when you have a 10 to 20 million a year e-commerce brand. Is it often happens that you advertise towards people that are going to buy anyway. So you're a lot of times are spending your budget. You're basically wasting your budget. So we're going to go a little bit over that as well on that last module. But yeah, that is it for the campaign setup on Meta. And yeah, let's move on to the next module.